Good evening, and welcome to another conspiratorial version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your convivial and convulsive host, Voice of Doom. Hello. I'm back to do another one, and I really don't have much of a plan. I'm just gonna ad-lib, riff, as Larry Kudlow might say, and throw in a few insurrective speeches which have been made in the past that might be of interest to people. This guy was a real radical, and I think he's been canceled, but his words still are preserved somewhere. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations in which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Absolutely politically incorrect. It could never pass muster in today's age. And there was another off-the-cuff speech, a diatribe, you might say. I'll edit it a bit because time has passed. But it goes something like, where is it? 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We are now engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war, etc. Went on to say that the people alive cannot consecrate a battlefield in which people gave their lives for a cause. It is consecrated by the people who gave their lives. All right. Now, both those speeches could not be uttered today because all men are created equal. Well, what about women? Well, all men are equal. Women might be able to strive for better. So who knows if it's politically incorrect. 7 years ago, our forefathers, not mothers, and not fathers who want to be mothers, but our forefathers established a great nation on this continent dedicated to liberty. Now, I'm sorry, but what about the mothers? Without the mothers, you can't have the fathers. So those have to be rewritten or just discarded completely. But I thought I'd throw that in there because of the subject matter of what I'm talking about, which I'm not going to talk too well about. Davos, Switzerland is hosting again this year in January, which it does every year, the World Economic Forum. And I thought I'd do a little diatribe on that particular organization, but when I delved into it and started studying, I realized it's as boring as you can possibly get. Cannot talk about the WEF without putting everyone to sleep. But I will say a few things. Now, Klaus Schwab was a German. His parents escaped Germany during the Third Reich and moved to Switzerland. And there was this and there was that, but basically he was an engineer, or is an engineer, and an economist. He established the European Management Forum in 1971. He was born in 1938. So the European Management Forum became the World Economic Forum in 1987 during the Gippers years. Ronald, don't be thinking that RR is the great champion of American nationalism and just getting back to basic conservatism. He did his part for the world order. And his buddy, G.W. the Senior, carved it into stone. But what can I say about the WEF? Well, I'll say this. People are getting kind of sick of the duplicity, the impunicity, the two-faced hypocrisy with impunity of the so-called elite, thinking that since they are special, they do not have to adhere to the rules which they want to bestow upon the rest of the world. And a lot of those rules are not in the best interest of countries that are under economically deprived countries that want to strive to become more like the West, countries in Africa, countries in Asia. They talk a good game, yes, and I'm not going to be able to say anything new because I don't have anything to say, but I will say that Klaus Schwab has been the head of this organization since 1971. Now, I've already said in previous diatribes that sometimes you cannot predict certain effects that may come from your actions. I can't remember the phrase, but unintended consequences, I guess it is. Now, when they pulled off their little trick in 2020 by shutting down the world and seeing what would happen, and using that as a pretense to start the Great Reset, which they say is something we need because of pandemics and because of this or that. They did not realize that when you shut down society, your common clay are going to start paying attention and getting into things that they didn't get into before. The WEF was a very benign, secret, elitist organization, like the Bilderbergers, like the Council for Foreign Relations. We know all about that. And I've read a lot of conspiracy books about those organizations, and they want to do things out in the open. One of their main things with the Illuminati is be obvious about it and see what people do. Now, Frankenstein was standing up on the podium saying that they were the elite and they were special people. He wasn't making any bones about the fact that they travel on special private jets, making a huge carbon footprint on the earth because they are allowed to do that, because they are solving our problems for us. So they have to have the free reign. Everybody's seeing through it now because they're paying more attention. Now, the WEF was a organization that was roundly criticized and protested by the left for many, many years. And I think that they decided, well, let's try to win them over. And they did it very simply by concentrating on climate change. And Frankenstein gets up and says the oceans are boiling. I haven't seen any evidence of that. I would think if the oceans are boiling, then Lake Tahoe should be boiling. Or we should be hearing about other places boiling. But that was Gore, total moron. I don't know why he still has to hang around this planet, but he always has this hyperbola about everything is on fire and boiling and the earth is doomed, which I agree with him on that. It's just the way he thinks it's doomed and the way I think it's doomed are two different things. So Frankenstein gets up there and talks about how they're special, they're almost extraterrestrial. They have been touched by the hand of some force which has made them very rich and very powerful and influential. I can't stand that guy, and he's going to live to be 150. You watch, because I don't think they are humans. They are extraterrestrials. There's an old German guy who likes women. He's probably still nosing around for somebody to sleep with at 99, named Henry Kissinger. His sins are so deep, you wouldn't be able to measure it. He was basically in charge of making sure that Vietnam continued and expanded so that the military-industrial could keep on keeping on. It's obvious. And he's still alive. And they never die. Never. Soros, Kissinger, Frankenstein. And then they have the young bucks, the young Turks coming in to replace the old ones because they can't live past 150. They have a forum on disinformation headed by Brian Stelter. Now right there it tells you these people can't be taken seriously, and yet they have a lot of power. We can't have everybody on the internet saying whatever they want to. How are we going to edit out? How are we going to stop people from saying things that aren't true according to our standards of what's true? So the WEF is a diabolical organization such as you would read in a comic book, with a bald head director, a mastermind who wants to take over the world, not unlike Peaky and the Brain, and with a heavy German accent and telling us all what we're going to have to do in order for humankind, to survive. And they're not going to survive, and they don't want us to survive. They want many, 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 many people off this planet, and they'll do it by hook or crook, by any means necessary. And they talk a good game, but they're very obvious, and they're saying things that they're not making any bones about the fact that they are special. They can do what they want. They can live the life of Riley, the life of luxury, because they are helping the planet. So I really didn't plan out what to say about this WEF. I just say WTF WEF. That's what I say, because I can't buy into your stuff, and I won't buy into your stuff. And I think everybody in your organization should be probably investigated and arrested and tried for whatever crimes they've done. It wouldn't be hard to find if there was equal justice under the law, which there is not. And I'm sorry to Abraham Lincoln, who wrote that very eloquent speech in November 19th, 1863. And I'm sorry Thomas Jefferson, who wrote that very eloquent document sometime in 1776 or somewhere in there, because all of your efforts are coming to naught. It's been a bad week. The DJ industrial average is going down, and I don't see it bouncing back up. People are getting ready for something bad to happen, and it's going to happen. It's obvious. So I'll leave it there. I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, Petrie's in his own little mess. And that's only a ploy by the deep state, the underground government, the bureaucrats, to get rid of him, discredit him so that they can get someone fresh for 2024. Good luck on having an election in 2024, but we'll see what other shoes drop between now and then. I think there'll be a lot. 250,000 people a month. That's what it's coming up to, as far as people coming across. Make of that what you will. Make of everything I said what you will. But I will add a note to my consultant, Nick, because I was going over my old stuff in my playlist, and I know that you're a fan. I mean, I have one fan on this planet out of 8 billion, and I'll take it. So if you'd be so kind as to go into my playlist and go to the Best of Diatribes and maybe add a few comments or a few suggestions on what I've said, because I went back to my stuff and I like it. Even though it might be a year or more old, I wouldn't mind getting some feedback, maybe a like or two or a comment on some of my old stuff. Just because I need a little bit of attention in order to keep going. I don't need much. I wouldn't be able to handle having 5 million subscribers, because then I'd be busy all the time and people would always be hounding me about my opinion and telling me I'm an idiot. So I don't mind being kind of under the radar, but I know Nick likes my stuff. So if you want to watch some of my early stuff, I'd appreciate it. I want to hear what you have to say about that. So I'll leave it there. And it wasn't a very good one, but maybe it was. I don't know. I'll have to watch it and see. So have a good night, everybody, and enjoy.